My ex got my parents in the divorce. I, 35, have been divorced from my ex-husband, 48, for 9 years. We have 2 children together, 13 and 10. Big age gap between me and him. And I had them kids really young. I had a bit of a difficult childhood. My father was very my way or the highway my entire child and adult life. I was a child competitive athlete with my father was coach and not much time for anything. When I turned 18, I just wanted to start a family and have my own life. Probably because my childhood never felt like a childhood. I ran into the first and worst arms I could to achieve my very short-sighted goals as a late teenage girl. I actually grew up over the years and did a whole lot of maturing, and obviously, the 32-year-old I married had done all the maturing. I went back to school, got a degree, and started working. We had our first child, and I decided to go back to school again for a better position. I was working full-time, plus overtime, going to school, taking care of one and then 2 kids, house, cooking, cleaning, and doing everything else under the sun. Come to find out, my deadbeat of a husband was not only cheating, but he was dropping our children off at my parents' house, claiming he had to go to work early. I work night shift, so they would be better to sleep there. He would drop them off and drive down the street to his girlfriend's house and stay with her. I realized one day when I came home from a 16-hour shift and the bed was still made, pillow shams and all. And we all know no man is ever putting shams back on the bed. And definitely not that man. I did a little digging into phone records and it was absolutely glaring me in the face. I confront. He admits. Fast forward. We wind up divorced. I do my best to move on. He moved in with his girlfriend and I struggled as a single mom, ultimately needing to rely on my parents again for help. My dad sunk his claws into my children and they also became child athletes. I did not want that life for them, but I was in desperate need of help and in my head I rationalized it away. Years go by. I become a successful professional. The divorce pain fades and my ex and I are actually friendly. We help each other out schedule-wise and had a more than cordial relationship for the sake of the kids. Over the years, I had also done my best to try and cool down the intense training my father imposed on my kids. My ex-husband was oblivious and just wanted free babysitting, so he would allow it all. Finally, I meet an amazing man who completes me. I move 45 minutes away and get married. My ex did not like that. He decided to take me to court and serve me with papers the day before my wedding. My parents also did not like that I was moving so far away. Why? I remind you, we are talking 45 minutes. It got very ugly after that. My parents got involved and basically sided with my ex-husband who lived down the street so they could have full access to them 24/7 for training purposes. I sat down with my husband and them at their kitchen table one day and flat out asked them if they were on my side or his, and they said it would be better for us if the kids lived with him. That was an absolute gut punch. Obviously, my ex didn't win in court. The kids stayed with me and things cooled down. I tried to forgive my parents, but I really just couldn't. They would still spend time with my ex and even went on more than one vacation with him. I told my parents how much this was hurting me and asked them to just take a step back from him so we could work on our relationship. They refused and said they couldn't do that because he was family. A few years of therapy and more hurt feelings, and I eventually decided they didn't have a place in my life anymore. They see my daughters through my ex, but my husband and I now have a child, and he does not see my parents at all. Am I the jerk for not including them in my son's life? Am I overreacting for making my husband sleep in the car because he brought his ex's ashes on our honeymoon? This sounds insane. I, 29 female, just got married to my husband, 32 male, 2 weeks ago. We've been together for 4 years, and he lost his previous girlfriend to cancer a couple of years ago. I've always known about her, and he still wears a necklace with some of her ashes in it, which I never had a problem with. I know grief is complicated, but here's what happened. We went on our honeymoon to a beautiful cabin in the mountains. The first night, everything was going great. We had dinner, opened a bottle of wine, lit some candles, super romantic. Then I noticed a small wooden box on the bedside table. I asked what it was, and he casually said, "Oh, that's just a bit of his ex. I always bring her to places that are special to me." I thought he was joking. He was not. Turns out, He brought a small urn with his ex's ashes on our honeymoon. Like, the actual trip meant to celebrate our love and new life together. I was so stunned I didn't even know what to say. That night, I asked him politely but firmly to sleep in the car because I needed space to process. He said I was overreacting and disrespecting his grief, that she was part of his journey, and it's not like she's here in person. But to me, it felt like he brought another woman his unalive ex on our honeymoon. Am I insane? I haven't told anyone in our lives yet because I'm afraid they'll think I'm heartless, but I honestly feel like this was way too far. So, am I overreacting? Am I the jerk for calling out someone else's family member at a children's birthday party? I, 31 female, had my child's third birthday. The party ended up being hosted at my partner's 27 male grandmother's house. It was mostly his family and a few of their close friends in attendance. About 20 people, give or take, total, plus their kids. For context, the men in his family were very spoiled growing up, and now, as adults, they often say whatever they want with no filter. Everyone just tolerates it. At one point, me, my partner, his cousins, all mid-20s to early 30s, and their girlfriends were in another room playing blackjack before everyone was ready to sing happy birthday. One cousin, let's call him Jay, was dealing while his wife made small talk about something her kid did that annoyed her. Out of left field, he made a snide comment, well, maybe if you weren't so incompetent and stupid that wouldn't have happened. His wife went quiet and just looked down. Nobody said anything. The guys laughed it off. I sat there waiting for someone to step in, but nobody did. I've heard him do this many times at other occasions, but unfortunately I was either too far from the situation or occupied. But this time I had no excuse, so I finally said something. I'm like, you have a little girl. You'd lose your cool if someone spoke to her like that. You're her example of how she should expect to be treated, so treat your wife the same way. So either apologize right now, or get out and let your wife meet you back at home. Long story short, he apologized. So I'm like, awesome. It's a shame I had to be the one to say it and not the literal men around me. Live with that shame, by the way. Anyway, back to the game. The women were smiling after that, but the vibe with the men did a 180. Later, that night when everyone left and we were winding down for bed, my partner told me that a lot of his family, because word got around, was mad at me. Apparently they thought I was rude, insulting, and that a kid's birthday party wasn't the time or place for that. Everyone just wanted to have fun. I won't get into how that conversation ended, but I am wondering, was it my place? Was it the time? Am I the jerk for ruining everyone's fun?
Would I be the jerk if I disinherit my estranged daughter? 10 years ago I found out that my wife of 30 years and the mother of my 2 children was cheating on me for over a year and a half. By the time I found out, and what hurt more than that is that my then 17-year-old daughter fully knew about it from the very beginning and said absolutely nothing to me about it, because her mom deserved better. And after the divorce I never saw her again because she was already 18, so there was no custody battle, and my older son was 25 at the time, and he had no idea about it as well, and he was so upset and angry about it he cut them off and has no contact with either of them. Still to this day my daughter hasn't reached out to me at all. I genuinely thought I was a good, supportive dad to her, and I still don't understand why she did that. I tried reaching out hundreds of times, but I'm blocked on all her socials and I don't know her number or where she lives or even if she's still alive or not. 7 months ago I was diagnosed with stage 3 lung cancer, and honestly, I don't feel like I have much time left anymore. My son and his wife offered to take me in after my diagnosis, and I'm so grateful for them. And I'm really thinking about my will right now. Part of me wants to give something to my daughter because in my mind, she's still my little girl even after everything, but another part of me remembers her betrayal and how my son stepped up for me countless times and how he's been housing me in my final days, and I feel it won't be fair for him if I give him the same as someone who hasn't been there for a decade and who also destroy my life. And my son has a young growing family, and I want to leave something to my lovely grandchildren who won't leave my side. Would it be wrong if I leave everything to my son?